Welcome back to Nodevember day 3. This one's prompt was ice, and I had a pretty clear idea going into it what I wanted, but naturally these projects do tend to take a little bit of a life of their own as you sort of play with the system and they sort of develop their own style, I suppose. So started off the system pretty straightforward, creating a little ice block system using basically just a cube, duplicate it a bunch of times, random rotation, translation, scaling, and then Boolean that gives you like a sort of random shape. Did that all in a big repeat zone, which is this brown one you can see on the left, and that basically gives me an output of just a whole load of random chips of ice, and then instance those on some random points with random scale and rotation, and that gave me nice interesting block of ice. It's not very art directed. I was really just relying on randomness here, but you could build in a whole load of different controls and constraints just to make sure that that was a bit more guided. Had a bit of a play with the manifold Boolean as well, because I was looking at how I could maybe remove the internal geometry, but I think ultimately I did leave it eventually. For the shader and the rendering setup, pretty straightforward. So I've just got a beveled backdrop, kind of like a photography screen. Just gives a really nice kind of like shadow catcher and backdrop color with a bit of variation, a bit of nuance across those gradients, which just makes it a bit more visually interesting. And then the lighting was pretty strong. I knew I was going to be doing a lot with like hard highlights and transparency, so I wanted the lighting to really kick off. A lot of this shader is me just trying to work out what to do with the translucent and then later the glass shader, and mixing that with glossy so I could get additional control over the highlights. I wanted it to be a little bit stylized, so there's sort of like a cast over the corners, which I was wanting to make sure was just a bit sort of softer. Ended up mixing a bit of diffuse onto the sharp corners a bit later on. What you can see me doing here is getting a gradient through it. So I didn't just want it to be a flat color. I wanted it to, well, ideally I would have wanted the color to get darker as the light went through, which is something that you could probably do better with volumetrics, but I just kind of hacked it here with the ray depth and the ray length, and then later on I used just the Y position because all of the ice blocks are in the same place. And then passing that through a map range to set my 0 to 1 range, which I could then put into a color ramp to set a range of colors. So I went for white at the start and then down to a sort of bluey green towards the back edge. And that just means that the front of it is really, really bright. But then as we see it sort of descend into the background, partly it's getting additional shadows from the lighting, but it's also just getting a little bit more depth from that color. I wanted to add a bunch of sort of stylized chips as if it was sort of spraying off particles or something like that. So I just took high points from the extremes, and I did that by doing a convex hull of the whole ice block, and then found where that was close to the original mesh, and then instanced curve lines pointing away from the mesh, and then randomized those positions and instanced little stretched icospheres on them, and just basically gave them the same ice material. So pretty straightforward. Very easy to just change the amount, and this is definitely something that you would like to art direct a bit more if you were doing this in production, but for this it was fine to just sort of do it as a random pass. Having a play at the moment with ambient occlusion, seeing if there's some way that I can integrate that to get a little bit more depth into the inner corners, and ultimately what I just went with was using the unsigned angle and a store attribute node in geometry nodes, and that was just able to give me the higher value for the corners of the blocks. It's quite sharp geometry, so it's pretty predictable to do that, and then I was using that to mix in a little bit of diffuse on those edges. Had a bit more play with the background, wanted it to push out a little bit more, have a bit more darkness back there, and yeah, just generally trying to work out how much illumination I wanted to get from the highlights. I had two different glosses. I had one that was like medium roughness and one that was very low roughness. And then the glass itself, which I'm using for the ice, the main ice, is a very high roughness ice. Very high roughness, just so that I could get some, well, to save myself from rendering artifacts with lots of internal reflections, but also just to make it feel a little bit more stylized. I did sort of Blizzard Entertainment, that kind of vibe. And then because you can see a little bit into these ice blocks, I did want to add some bubbles inside them. So I just basically took the ice itself, instance points with inside it, and then put random side icospheres on those. I don't know if it really mattered, but I did do a flip faces so that they're inside the geometry, but they point outwards. Had a bit of a play to see if I could stretch out the ice spraying off the surface using vector blur in the compositor. So I just stored the vector in geometry nodes and then looked at stretching it that way with the vector blur. Ended up not finding a way that I really liked how that looked. It definitely looked like a post effect. So I just stretched out the ice instead into elongated icospheres, and that worked relatively well. Then there's just a lot of tweaking. Fundamentally, the system is built at this point, and all of the pieces are, actually not all of them, but all but one of the sets of pieces are in. And actually you can see me adding the final one here, which is edge cards. And I just wanted to break up some of these edges. As soon as I really realized that I was leaning into a more painterly style again, a bit more stylized again, I thought it would be really nice to add some lost edges. I tried a little bit with the Koara filter in the compositor, which is always a nice one, but it just looked a little bit contrived. It looked like a filter, and the depth of field was working a little bit, but not perfectly. So what I ended up doing, and this is something that I do quite frequently, is instancing a bunch of cards facing the camera, pulling them towards the camera from the geometry. And then I also, in this case, I aligned them to the geometry. I think I used like the cross product of the surface normal and the camera direction. And that allowed me to get a vector that was essentially tangent to the screen space edge, if that makes sense. So you can see that these brush marks actually sort of follow the edge of the geometry, which is cool. Very simple, very hacky. Again, if you were doing this properly, you'd probably do a whole spline setup in geometry nodes and trace things properly. But in this case, just for a quick and dirty, it worked quite well. And yeah, using that refraction shader, using a bit of texture on the refraction planes, and then setting the IOR fairly low, like 1.05 or 1.1, and then setting the roughness a bit higher. It feels very much like if you're painting digitally and you use like an oil paint brush or something like that, that's going to give a little bit of paint drag and blur. It just helps you blend out some of those edges and lose them a little bit, which is a very important technique if you're doing 2D art, is how you define and lose edges. And that's something that's very often very overlooked within 3D because everything's so much explicit, right? It can be quite challenging to lose your edges. And then, yeah, I ultimately chose to wedge out a load of different options here. So wedging is where you basically set up a procedural tree to either render you out or export out a whole load of different options simultaneously. And in this case, we can just plug the scene time frame socket into the random seed of whatever we want. So I'm controlling where I'm building the blocks together. I've got random position, rotation, and scale. And so I'm just plugging the frame into the seeds of each of those node groups, of each of those random value nodes. And that way, when I render an animation from, in this case, I did 50 frames, then it's just going to change every frame to a new option. And then we can have a look through after the fact and see the ones that we want to keep. And it also just means that you don't need to wait for things to render. You can just shoot them out while you go and do something else, and you get some kind of fun results. So there we go. That was basically the process. If you want to download the file, check the link down in the description. It's on Patreon for free if you want it. Hope you had fun, hope you learned something, and I will catch you in the next one.